The so-called, in quotes, almighty exams have now arrived. The very same one you've been studying hard for all this while. However, the moment you enter the exam hall, your mind first goes haywire and then goes blank. Shortly before the question papers are distributed, your heart begins to pound hard and fast. You become shaky and break out in a sweat. A knot develops in your stomach, and the need to take a trip to the toilet to empty your bladder suddenly surfaces. You no more feel confident, you feel unprepared and very destabilized. If you feel this way, but you urgently need to overcome it before any exam, stick around and I'll tell you how. Let's go. Even though feeling a little anxious before an exam is normal, it does become exaggerated as well as unsettling to some of us and cost us success in the exam. So, in today's video, I'm going to be giving 7 tips to overcoming exam anxiety. Let's start. The first and the most obvious tip is to get prepared. Honestly, without adequate and thorough preparation, failure is a sure thing. If you've covered every aspect of your curriculum, memorized all important lists, tables, formulas and classifications, solved past questions, as well as set some for yourself, you could safely assume your preparation is in top gear. At this point in time, you could feel a lot more relaxed, confident, and less anxious before that all-important exam. You may still experience anxiety here and there. However, it's the type that gets you pumped up and ready for the exam. Tip 2 is sleep. If you've been following my series of videos over time, you'll notice that I always emphasize the need to get a full night's rest. It keeps you healthy physically and mentally. Getting about 6 to 8 hours of sleep before an exam is therefore very important. Doing all-nighters could leave you assuming there is still some part of your studying you've left out. Besides that, all the cramming you've done will leave you tired and create a nerve-wracking experience when it's time to stop reading and start the exam. Tip 3 is have an early morning breakfast. Most of us claim we don't feel hungry the morning of the exams. Now listen up. That is nerves and anxiety talking. You need food in your system to serve as fuel for your brain, because for the next 2-3 hours or more, you'll be doing quite a lot of thinking and purging of information. Eating first thing in the morning calms you down and gives you a burst of energy to face any oncoming task. If this is your first time here, subscribe, share, click the like or thumbs up button and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's continue. The next tip to apply is getting to the exam hall early enough. In my case, I'll set my alarm the night before so that I'll wake up early in the morning the next day. When I've gotten fully prepared, I'll leave for the exam hall, getting there at least 2 hours before the exam. Doing this helped me to get used to the environment and put me in the right frame of mind for the exams. This is as opposed to other people who were regular latecomers, arriving barely minutes before question sheets were shared. This is a guaranteed way to rattle your nerves and delay time needed to settle down. A very important aspect and tip number 5 is having the right mental attitude towards your chances at the exams. This is akin to feeling confident about oneself. Constantly boosting your morale before, during, or after the exam is a sure way to overcoming exam anxiety. However, this is not to be compared with sheer overconfidence and conceit. Although you could have beaten exam anxiety, you could still fail the exam. Tip number 6 is set your own time. If you have 3 hours to answer 6 questions, 30 minutes per question, and at the 2 hours 30-minute mark you're still on the 4th question, you're not going to finish. Taking a look at the timer would send you into an anxious fit because you realize the consequence of not completing the exam. Therefore, it's important to give yourself much less time than is allocated for the exam so that you could finish well ahead of time. The 7th and probably the most important tip is to focus on yourself during the exam. Some people tend to look over their shoulder or watch those sitting next to them to know how far they've gone or what they are writing. Trying to compare your work in the exam hall with someone else's encourages unnecessary competition. Honestly, this will be grossly unfavorable to you if the person seated next to you is writing pretty fast and is perceived to be well prepared for the exam. This will certainly make you more anxious. So, while you're in the exam hall, concentrate only on what you're doing and ignore everyone else. Who knows? That person perceived to be well prepared for the exam could just be scribbling nonsense. Let's now go over the highlights of this video. To overcome exam anxiety, you need to follow these 7 tips. Get prepared thoroughly and adequately. Get sufficient sleep. Have an early morning breakfast. Get to the exam hall early enough. Have the right mental attitude. Set your own time during the exam and focus on yourself during the exam.